why don't we get right into Girl Chat? Okay, so first up, a recent Allure article talked about why people need to stop sharing memes and joking about weight gaining under stay-at-home orders. They say that making jokes about gaining the quarantine 15, have you ladies heard of that? The quarantine 15? They said it could actually end up giving people extra anxiety on top of what they are already going through during this difficult time. However, there are some other people out there that say using humor actually helps them with ways of coping, and that these jokes don't really harm anyone. What do you ladies think of this?
I agree that obviously we all are like, yes, humor definitely is, like, laughter is good for the soul. But I do believe that there is a borderline. Obviously, you know, making a meme about like, I'm gaining weight, I'm stuck in my house, or the one that the Real, I love the ones that the Real has been posting on their Instagram, and pretty much saying that, like, when you realize your quarantine life is no different than your real life because you never leave the house anyway. Like, that's funny. Being like someone is dying or can't breathe, not funny. Like, common sense, people.
Absolutely.
But I think it's also like making fun of yourself. Like, if you're making a joke about your experience and you not wanting to, you know, and if you have a certain lifestyle that you've been living that is changed and now you're seeing the results of that, like, I think you should be able to joke about that. And I think a lot of people do those jokes. I mean, self-deprecating humor and joking about your experience is very, very common, and it's a coping mechanism, as well as it's a way that other people can feel like they can relate. So I think sometimes we're just a little too hot button with the shaming police.
There's something really gratifying when you have somebody else who relates about, like, acrylics growing out, or, you know, lashes falling out. You know, one lash over here and you got two chilling on your eyes still. Like,
there's social distancing.
Because this is not normal. However, I do remember one time where I was reading the gram, and Perez Hilton posted a joke, right, about the whole quarantine thing. And Chiara Ferragni, who's a well-known influencer in Italy, abruptly stopped him and wrote this long caption about why this isn't funny for the conditions that are going on in Italy. And we all know this is true. So I think the one thing we have to understand is, even if you joke, reserve the respect for somebody who isn't down with that, who is offended by that. We have to give them that space too, because everybody reacts differently right now, you know?
That is true. There actually is a meme that made me laugh so hard because I could relate to it, and it was about moms. It was saying, let's play a quarantine drinking game. Every single time you hear your child say, Mom, drink, and then they were like, oh, wait, don't do that, you would die. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not alone. Okay. I probably shouldn't post that, though, because I did have that feeling like, wait a minute, there are people who are actually dying for real, and that probably, even though that made me laugh, that probably wouldn't make other people feel comfortable. So I just chose not.
That kind of sucks, man. I hate the idea of, like, if it serves you, great. If it doesn't, move on. Like, you can't.
If it don't apply, let it fly.
That's it. Well, like, I think it's so unfair that, like, you won't be able to share that, and there might be some other moms that would find comfort in that. And there are so many people that find comfort in laughter. And that you would not want to share that because somebody might judge you.
You know what it is? I just think like this. I think D.L. Hughley, he put up something that was really, like, because, you know, on Instagram, there were so many memes and Twitter that was coming from Black Twitter, from Black Instagram, that was basically helping us to cope with what was happening with COVID-19. So then DL posted this. He said, PSA, please don't mistake Black folks' humor about COVID-19 as a lack of concern or seriousness. We've been laughing through hard times for centuries. I mean, and I really agreed with that, and I posted that because I think for some people, like you said, Amanda, this is a coping mechanism for them. And the thing is that if you're so irritated, mute people. You can mute, you can block. You know, there are certain people that you know that are like that. Just mute them and block them. But for some of us, this is how we cope.
Yeah. Yes. And just being in some people, okay, it's like some people when they're going through a breakup, they only want to listen to sad music, right? Because they're like, I just want to be in the sadness. You know, I want to be in that. Yeah. Like they're like Fiona Apple, Sarah McLachlan, give me all of it. But then
all day.
Other people are like, no, like I need to be up. You know, so everyone deals with things different. Like some people want to know every single news story, every single thing about what's going on right now because it makes them feel plugged in. Whereas other people are like, yo, I can't do it. So I think it's really just like understanding the reality that like there's a whole global pandemic going on. Everybody is not in it or dealing with it the same way. Everybody is not going through it the same way. And laughter is helpful.
Did y'all hear about the meme?
I'm not going to recognize that I have sound effects.
I did.
Oh,
thank you, Bonnie.
Sound effects. That was applause.
We talked about your espresso maker.
Exactly. Thank you. You're making me crave coffee right now, Lonnie.
I even got the laughter one.
Did you guys see the meme that said, lay me on an empty grocery shelf and let me be your snack? Did y'all see that one?
Oh,
I didn't see that one.
Card. That's amazing.
I cannot.
Okay.
I cannot.
Well, okay, so you guys know when you bring up the grocery store, I'm really the queen when it comes to staying 6 feet away from people and really monitoring how much I'm stepping outside. I even did a post on Instagram about it because flattening the curve is the focus we should all be having. But let me tell you, there's people's neighbors, I don't know if you guys have heard this, that are taking it to the very next level by actually calling out people online who aren't 6 feet away from each other. And there's also tensions between neighbors that are running really high because people who are confined to their spaces, they're living their life, they're playing loud music, they're having loud phone calls, but neighbors are really getting offended and getting really tense about it because we're all sharing the space and everybody who's at home is now just really recognizing you can hear everything and you're sharing the same air. So I want to know, how do you ladies deal with neighbors who are either being too nosy or loud, or neighbors that are like calling you out in public when it comes to the 6 feet away?
Well, you guys know I just moved.
I
just went outside for the first time in 24 days. And I went for a walk. And as I was coming back to my house, my neighbor was pulling into her driveway. So I met her for the first time. She was very, very nice. Her name is Alexis. Nice. And she was like, we're here for anything you guys may need, except for toilet paper. She's like, we can't help you with toilet paper. And I was like, oh, well, damn. I was like, well, we got some over here. We went and bought in bulk from Costco a long time ago, and it's just the two of us. So
okay, but my question, Adrienne, when you hollered at her, did you like maintain distance, or did you like come up to the car, or like how was it?
I maintained my distance.
Okay.
Because I'm the crazy psychotic person about that right now. Yeah. So I maintained my distance, and she actually was the one that was being super friendly. You know, I'm very New York. I like to give people their privacy, not chit-chatting with next door neighbors. So as she was pulling in, I just kept walking, and she rolled down her window and was like, "Hi, I'm your neighbor." But I was doing the moonwalk away from the car.
What was the question? How do you feel about people? I mean, would you tell on other neighbors if you?
Yeah. Are you the neighbor that would snitch on others in their face or online to tell people like to maintain the 6 feet? And how do you deal with neighbors being so close in proximity? Like now that everybody's at home at the same time, everybody's trying to have it. Like DJ Nice is spinning in his apartment, you know.
Jean, right now, this is serious, okay?
Yeah.
And so I handle it seriously because we are talking about life and death. I know we were just talking about, you know, how we handle certain things, but when it comes to personal social distancing, I think it's very important that we adhere to that, even if it's my neighbors. And most of my neighbors, I don't know. So I got to look out, you know, I got to stay away from them. So the thing is that because we're all at home a lot more, we're hearing, you know, some people like, I feel like if they're like loud, I don't mind going over there and knocking on the door saying, hey, you know, can you kind of like keep it down? But it depends on how your neighbor looks. If your neighbor is tough, I think you need to not do that. You gotta like.
I feel like I would maybe give them like 3 chances, you know, because I don't want to be like, obviously this is a serious situation. But if it got to the point where they were doing like block parties, having, you know, parties outside or inside, whatever, obviously they're not taking it, seriously. Right. And that's when I think I would probably call, the police, because I know they wouldn't listen to me,
You could ask Adam to go do it.
Wait, Tam, I can see you doing that.
Oh my God. Hi, Rai. How are you?
Hi.
Wait, you guys know that there's so much going on the internets. Everybody's online. I've never seen so many lives in my entire life. But you guys, according to The Independent, Aiden is now going to start live streaming divorce proceedings.
Wow.
Yes, you heard me correctly. Literally, they're going to put them on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So they will be public. And they said that they want to do this so that people can actually learn more about their justice system. That was supposedly their reason. And that to protect people's privacies, you're only going to see the backs of them. So they won't show their faces, but you'll see the back of them, but you can watch their entire divorce proceedings. So ladies, what do you think about that? I got to throw it to Jeannie, because obviously, Jeannie, what would you have done?
I got sensitive about this. Okay, let me tell you a story, a couple things.
Weird.
First of all, my friend called me last night and literally told me that his best friend called him and said, I can't do it anymore. I'm going to ask for a divorce from my wife, because they didn't realize that not only were they not happy in their marriage, but when you have work and when you have outings and you have things that distract you, the years go by and you can just deal with it. But now that you're quarantined together, you really amplify how much the relationship sucks. So he's literally filing for a divorce as we speak during the quarantine, and he cannot wait to just get out and move into a new space. Like, that's how serious this is. And I mean, all joking aside, like when I reflected that back to my past, I remembered, guys, if it weren't for work, if it weren't for the real, getting me out of the house pretty much all day and then coming home and having dinner meetings or having, drinks that you have to go have with other couples, like, you don't realize how bad your marriage is. So this time is very telling for a lot of couples to realize, like, you really in it to win it or not, And on that note, I couldn't possibly watch something like this because I couldn't bear bringing back up the memories of divorce. I've talked about this before. If you know somebody who's been divorced and they really open up to tell you, there's a wound there. And you really dig up old memories. When The Marriage Proposal came out, do you guys know? Oh, I'm sorry, A Marriage Story? The movie with Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
Okay, so for you two to watch it, did it move you in any way? Because you haven't been through divorce. So did it affect you? Or because for me, I couldn't finish. It was too close to the real thing. Yes. And what's weird is my brother told me to watch it because he said, Jeannie, I lived with you while you went through divorce. I want you to watch this. And when I watched it, it was so eerily close to what I went through that I had to turn it off. And so for you guys, it's interesting. You guys watched it and probably noted that it was a great movie.
Yeah, story. Amazing acting.
I thought it was great acting. Yeah.
Same. I just think they're trying to be Judge Judy. That's what I think.
Of course.
Or divorce court. There was literally a show
called Divorce Court though. I never was a fan. I was never.
It was such a big show too.
Watching.
Huh? When I was younger. But I mean, there was a show called Divorce Court where it was literally divorce proceedings.
Yeah,
and then they have like paternity court and, and let's be real, like Maury and
Steve Wilco and
all those are really just, a lot of times they end up in divorce right on the show. But I think it'll be different because it's in British accents.